If every Christian were to spend this great fast simply trying to live greater charity in their family or in their job or in their, like, can you imagine what a difference that would make if every Christian was doing this? That would be incredible, right? The truth is there are very few things, if anything, that we do in this life that we have totally pure motives, right? Like, because we are broken, we're always going to have mixed motive for things.
Do the hard thing and do the thing that's going to train you so that you say no to even worse sins. If you can say no to a burger on Friday, you can, in 3 years, you can say, no to gossiping.
The kind of fasting that you choose, if you can ask yourself, like, what's the point of that? Like, if that's the end and not a means, then something's wrong with it, right? We want to be hardcore with our fasting and our vigils and our all of this. And it's like, well, but are you actually keeping the commitments that you've told the Lord you're going to keep before you're taking on these additional things? The point of our prayer, our fasting, our almsgiving, all of this needs to conclude with, like, the point is relationship with God.
I'm just going to get the thing I like less on the menu, right? I'm not going to get the thing I like most. This is just typical thing that I do. That is so helpful because then I know when the feast comes, I can actually get exactly what I want.
Moderation isn't sexy, but maybe this fast, Jesus is calling you to just be moderate.
Glory to Jesus Christ. It's Jelly. I'm here to welcome you to the What God Is Not podcast, where you can join Father Michael O'Loughlin and my godmother, Mother Natalia.
Glory to Jesus Christ.
Glory forever.
Hi, Father Michael.
Hello, Mother. Good afternoon to you.
Good morning to you.
I looked at my clock and it was 11:11, and I hope this isn't bad or evil. Some listeners probably say it is, but there's something about.
Don't you usually take a screenshot of your phone when it's 11:11?
I do. Have I already shared that? Anyway, I met with you, I'm sure, but I don't know if I shared it. So yeah, I have a friend who's spiritual but not religious, and yeah, that's all the ones are a thing, and I'm like, well, there's order to it, and God is of order, so I'll meet you where you're at with, like, as long as it's not superstitious or something like that. But there's just a moment. It's a bond. I have these weird text things. I'll just send different friends little things like that, and without any context at all. But there's kind of this, we just know.
Context?
Context, without any context. What did I say?
Well, you said it right. It's just punny because you're also talking about texting.
So is context mean with text? What is the etymology of context?
No, I'm just saying it was a pun.
Context is like
also,
text messages written by criminals.
Funny that you said. It's funny that you say.
Thank you for the giggle. That's all I got. I'll take it.
That God is about order, because I'm going to be talking about that on this episode. That's not like the primary point, but that's part of it. So that's fun. And I'm not doing that yet because I want to banter first, because I want to tell a story.
Tell the story.
Here's what happened 2 days ago. Mother Gabriella's bed kept collapsing, like her bed frame is broken or something.
Yep.
And so she was like, she asked me to look at it with her or help her get it back together or whatever. So I went in her cell and we're putting it back together and moving the mattress and stuff. And I am sweating just fixing her bed. And I was like, Mother Gabriella, she and I share the same cloister hall. Like, and so we're in the same heating system. And I was like, your cell is so much hotter than mine. And I'm like, I'm a freeze baby. I'm always cold. Like, I wear this sweater year round, right? Like, usually when we're recording in the summer, I'm still wearing a sweater. And so every night I'm just like freezing in our hall, especially because Mother Gabriella's not a freeze baby. And so we keep the temperature lower, which I am a firm advocate of. Like, I think, hot takes by Mother Natalia, I think thermostats should always be set, maybe not always, that's a strong word, but should be set to the temperature of the person who likes it the coolest, because other people can put on more layers. But if you're too hot, like, there's only so much you can do, right? And so even though I get cold easily, I agree that it should be set at a lower temperature because like I can use blankets, I can wear warm pajamas, whatever. Similarly, I think that coffee should always be brewed to the strength of the person who likes it the strongest if you're a communal coffee drinker, because other people can dilute theirs, but you can't make your coffee stronger. Okay.
This is true.
Those are my hot takes, but they shouldn't be hot takes. They are just logical takes.
Well, let me ask you this. How do you like your coffee? Stronger than most or weaker than most?
Stronger than most.
So you got 50-50 on the,
Yeah.
I really like when people say, like, here's the way it should be, and this inconveniences me.
Yeah. That's how I am about the
yeah.
temperature.
Yeah, exactly.
Not the coffee. The coffee, I like it stronger. But, so you're right, 50-50.
That makes sense. Yeah.
So, because I like logic, even when logic is inconvenient to me. So, but not always. Sometimes when it's really inconvenient, then I push against it and I just want my way. As you know, because you're my spiritual father. Where was I going with this? Okay, so her room is so hot. And I'm like, I don't understand because our thermostat is set so low and not so low, but like my room is so much colder than hers. And so I was like, Mother Gorilla, your room is so much warmer than mine. And she was like, yeah, I have my vent open for the heat. And I was like, I have my vent open and my room is freezing. And she was like, well, I think that side of the house, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, ugh. And so I'm like thinking, this is just, we are set up on the wrong sides of the house. Like she and I should switch rooms because this is, yeah. And I go back to my cell and I look at my vent and it's closed. It is December 22nd as we're recording. Our heat has been on for at least more than a month, right? We got Thanksgiving, we had 13 inches of snow or something. Like it's freezing here and I've had my vent closed all summer. And the last 2 nights I've slept so well because all the other nights I'm like waking up shivering all night. And I just thought, well, this is just life. But actually, all I had to do was open my vent. And now my room is very toasty and it's wonderful.
And now her room is not as toasty because you're taking some of the heat that used to go to her when your vent was closed.
Probably. Anyways, that's the story that I wanted to tell. I
had a room when I was living in the companion's house in Denver. My room was in the basement and nobody really wanted it because it was tiny. It was very, very small. I don't mind a small room.
I love tiny rooms.
It was also under the kitchen, so you heard every step because it was an old house.
Yeah.
So some guys didn't like it because of that, but it was the perfect temperature year round because the heat is such an old house. I don't know how this works exactly, but it had like the hot water pipe ran right through. So I got more heat, and then somehow the air was, heat rises. So in the summer it was cooler down in the basement. So anyway, it was like the perfect temperature year round. And so I was like, this is my dream room here. I literally used to think like I may die in this room. Like if God keeps me in Denver my whole career, and this is like, and I remain in the companions, like this will be my room. And then wah wah. But anyway, whenever I go back there, usually nobody wants that room so much that I can usually stay there again. Although there's so many more companions now than when I left 6 years ago that probably one of them has it now.
Well, also, usually you stay with your family, right?
In Denver, I usually stay with Father Brian Larkin.
That makes sense.
In
okay.
The house they have next to the church. But yeah, that's...
Okay.
You're not guaranteed parking at the companion's house because it's has like 9 bedrooms and like 4 parking spots.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just easier, and I'm lazy and weak.
Oh.
You know this as my spiritual daughter. I'm trying to turn it back around. You know this. You're my spiritual daughter.
I don't think you're lazy or weak. Okay. We're gonna hear if something happens to the cell phone that I brought with me. We're gonna hear it vibrate, and I'm very sorry, Greg. But because I'm waiting here for a call. Actually, I'll put it on my lap. We might still hear it, but I'm waiting for a call from the mechanic. And so I told Father Michael that if the mechanic calls, we're going to have to pause our conversation and then have it edited out. Although maybe you can just use that time for a commercial break or something.
So before we finish our banter, I also have a funny thing happen. So I have a friend staying, his name is Charles Colombe, Some of you may know him. I didn't know he was a writer. I didn't know he was a pretty prestigious writer, but he.
I know his name.
Yeah, I guess other people do. I literally know him as a cigar buddy. That's what I know him as, like smoking cigars at various events that we find ourselves at.
No, I mean, I think I know his name. Like, I feel like he's emailed or something.
Oh, okay.
I don't mean... Anyways, okay, keep going.
So he teaches at the ITI. He's a pretty prominent writer, as I hear, but he's very, very... He has a great sense of humor, and he's very traditionally minded. So he's one of my parishioners, Catechumen Catherine, now Catholic Catherine for a few years, so she loves this guy, and she's so old fashioned as well that it just their personalities meet. So I text this morning, and Charles and I are going out to breakfast. So I text him the Google Maps of where we're going, my favorite restaurant here, Blue Jam, and he goes, many thanks.
Blue Jam. Then
I said, would it make sense to drive separately so that you can spend more time with your nephew? So his nephew's going to meet us there, and I have to come back to record. So I said, and then he says, yes, indeed, but couldn't you just send the carriage around? And then so I write, ordinarily I would, but the servant girl is currently in labor and having a baby. So inconvenient. And then he goes, not again, honestly. And I was like, so I screenshot that and I sent it to Catherine. I'm like, guess who I'm hanging out with this morning? She immediately writes, Charles Colomb. I was like, yes, exactly. You know his sense of humor well. So
That's
anyway,
very
he's gonna walk in here, drop the key off because he's going to the airport. So anyway, so if I interrupt the show for that, then yes,
maybe
that's
the mechanic is going to call just as he walks in.
There we go.
Let's see if the Lord arranges that.
Amen.
Blue Jam is where that bird flew at me. Do you remember that?
I do. I forgot about that, but now I just do remember. Yeah.
I squeaked.
Sister squeaks.
Or something. All right, let's talk about stuff.
Cool.
Here's what I would like to talk about today. I didn't take good notes. I don't usually have good notes, but I have like almost nothing. Okay, so this just came to me pretty randomly, as in like it came up on my heart in prayer, seemingly out of nowhere. But also, we've talked about it on the podcast before, and I think it's a really good time to revisit. And I think that especially because I realized this episode comes out like 2 weeks before the Great Fast or something like that, something around then. So people are preparing for the Great Fast at this point.
Wow.
So I think this is really important,
Okay.
which is, it's wild. I mean, we are a little bit ahead on recording, like more than usual, since we're both going to be traveling for Christmas, but also it's a pretty early Pascha this year. So that means it's a pretty early fast, which means not that much time of not fasting after Christmas. And it also means the Apostles' fast is going to be super long. And so anyways, let's go. I'm ready for it. I'm here for it. That's been my recent phrase. I think we all do this at the monastery. Maybe people in general just do this, is I get stuck on a particular phrase that I just use.
I had never heard freeze baby before. Or what'd you call it? Freeze
baby?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a thing.
Never heard of that. Is that an Ohio thing or a Christ the Bridegroom Monastery thing, or am I just totally out of it?
It's also possible that refers to like frozen embryos, and I just used it totally in the wrong. No, I think freeze baby means that you're always cold. Okay. I hope. I don't know what it means. That's one of those things that I said that I don't know what it means.
Sorry,
but my current phrase that it's fine. My current phrase that I'm stuck on is I did this the other day when I was making asparagus, and I said I was like, do you guys have a preference of how it's made? I was thinking of just braising it. And someone was like, what does it mean actually to braise something? And I was like, I said, I think it means that you like put it in a pan with a little bit of water and then cover it. And it kind of, which I think actually is what it means. So I think I had the right, but I said it very confidently and was not so confident about what it meant. Anyways, my current phrase is, I'm here for it. That's something I've been kind of stuck on.
That is a phrase I know.
Maddie for a while was my dude. Like everything I'd be like, she'd like would you like some coffee, my dude? And this was just, it was for a few weeks. It was everything. And anyways, all right. So I'm bringing back this topic that we've talked about before because it came up, reconvicting me. Basically the conviction I've had recently is just that I need to do a better job of keeping silence at the times we're supposed to be silent in the monastery. So I just it's so easy to just whisper a joke or, things like that. And then it starts to, but then it becomes habitual. And then it's then you're making those exceptions more often than actually being silent for the whole silent time is the exception and and I'm setting a bad example for the dokomoi and all of this, right? And so I was convicted of this recently. And so I've been trying to recommit to it, which is difficult and humbling and all the things. It's especially humbling because I had to admit to the community that I've been doing a terrible job of this because I wanted to communicate to them that I'm recommitting to this, in part so that they hold me accountable, but even more so just because if I used to make little jokes with this particular nun during a silent time or something, and I'm no longer doing that, I don't want her to interpret it as I'm sudden, because we're a women's monastery. I don't want her to suddenly interpret it as she's mad at me or she's what did I do or why is she being distant or whatever. So it's it's not distance. I'm just trying to actually do what I'm supposed to be doing because usually I don't. So as I was praying with that, I was also, and I really my experience of it, we haven't talked about it in direction yet. And usually I try to talk to you about things before I bring them here, but it really seems to me like it was the Lord, and I'm open to you correcting that even on this podcast. But it seems like it was the Lord because there was no condemnation in it or anything, or how could I be making these mistakes? I'm so horrible or anything like that. It's just gentle conviction of these are things I'm being invited to work on. So there were a few of them, there was that, and there was just very simply being on time to things, because especially things like recording, but really all meetings, I'm just I'm leaving no margin in between things. And so I'm just a few minutes late to everything, or it's I'm stuffing a Cliff Bar in my mouth as I'm running across the street for a meeting or whatever. And so just very simple recommitments of keeping silence when we're supposed to be silent, being on time to things, trying to be on time to the chapel. That's a big one. Just being on time to the chapel, especially. And even if there are rare occasions where I'm praying 6th hour alone because there's doctor appointments and nuns are on Pustinia and whatever, and just trying to start 6th hour at the correct time, even though I'm alone, because this is our schedule, right? And there were a couple quotes that I wanted to bring into this. What was it? So I'll come back to the quotes actually, because I think that it's more relevant to share the second part first. So the reason I think this is relevant coming into the Great Fast as people are praying about what to do for the Great Fast is because this was a conversation you and I had in a conversation I had with the Lord. So I think this has happened in my life twice. The first time I think was from you. The second time was from the Lord, or maybe the other way around. I don't remember. But where I was going into a fasting period and I was I want to do this and that and make these changes and these fasts and focus on this and blah, blah, blah. And one of the times it was you, one of the times it was the Lord, was just how about you just do the things that you're supposed to be doing? That typicon, that rule of life that you've promised to live, all of the things that you're not doing from that, why don't you work on doing those things. And I was like, well, that's not fun. And which one of the priests that we know has this great phrase. He says, moderation isn't sexy. And I'm like, that's it. It's like we want to do these grand things and these like we want to be hardcore with our fasting and our vigils and our all of this. And it's like, well, but are you actually keeping the commitments that you've told the Lord you're going to keep before you're taking on these additional things? But it's more exciting and more naturally rewarding to do the things that we choose to do, because then, it feeds our vanity and things like that. And which is obviously the opposite of what we want to do. And so the first quote is by Theodorus, Theodorus the Great Ascetic. This is from one of the volumes of the Philoclea, I think volume 2, maybe. That sounds right. He's from anywhere between the 7th and 9th century, I think. Anyways, so he says, it is better to be asleep than to keep vigil with vain words and thoughts. It is better to be asleep than to keep vigil with vain words and thoughts. And the other quote is my dude, St. Maximus, who says something similar. I'm very sorry for everyone who I just offended by calling St. Maximus a dude. He says, many human activities, good in themselves, are not good because of the motive for which they are done. For example, fasting and vigils, prayer and psalmody, acts of charity and hospitality are by nature good, but when performed for the sake of self-esteem, they are not good. Which I'd like to nuance, because the truth is there are very few things, if anything, that we do in this life that we have totally pure motives, right? Like, because we are broken, we're always going to have mixed motive for things. So I don't know. I don't like, well, I've learned to read certain things through the filter of, we use sometimes exaggeration for the sake of making a point, or absolutes or whatever. And so I don't think it's that, like, if there's some self-esteem mixed in there, it's no good and there's no point, and so don't even do it. It's like, well, also the exterior acts can change the interior, and we do still need to do the good even if we don't feel the good and all of that. And so it's like, sure, with more pure motives, there's maybe more goodness in the act, but there's also our motives become purified as time goes on and as we allow the Lord to do that. So I do want to give that nuance.
Like if you just said, well, I'm just going to sleep all the time instead of doing a vigil,
right.
Like you'd never grow,
Yeah.
right? You got to,
yes.
You'll get better at vigils as time goes on and do them less selfishly. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Like we hear these very extreme statements sometimes by some of the, and also remembering these, any text that we're reading, anything from a desert father, like it was said to a specific person at a specific time, and it's now being taken out of context. And so like they were speaking into someone's, so like when like I've read before, one of the fathers saying, if prayer is distracted, it's better to not pray at all. And I'm like, that's extreme.
Yeah. And I think it's based on the
I would
personality
literally never pray.
because that would be my tendency and my presumption would be to say, well, then I'll just sleep. Like that. That's But oh man, what was I going to say? A million squirrels just went through my mind in every direction. To anyway.
Do you want me to just keep going?
Yes.
Okay. If you think of it, just cut in.
Okay.
So my point is, I really want to challenge all of our listeners. And if you remind me, Father Michael, I will do this myself for the Great Fast. So you remember? Say it.
it was a beautiful moment because you know Libby Reichert, my spiritual daughter, and she is the exact opposite of me. So she will power through fasts and power through vigils and things like that in an amazing way. I'm saying as opposite of me. I mean, she's actually virtuous. So so. But she also knows me and loves me so much that she will enable, I will use that word deliberately, she will enable my lack of virtue at any opportunity to offer me charity in the midst of a fast. So I go over to her house, and it's me, it's her, Libby, Claire, and then Father Brian and Father John. So I know that. So I come over and she said, "What are you drinking?" I said, "Well, it's the fast. It's a Tuesday night. I'm just having whatever seltzer, whatever you got." So she says, "Okay." Then she goes, "But I hear that Father John is actually bringing whiskey that he really wanted you to have." And I was like, "Oh, great! Like this is exactly an opportunity to actually have whiskey on a Tuesday during the fast." So he comes over, he puts it right in front of me. He says, "I brought this for you." Libby may have just loaded him up with that. So I take it and I pour myself a glass because he put it in front of me. And then the conversation is going on and going on. About a half an hour later, I'm feeling snarky. And so Libby's sitting next to me. So I literally just slide the bottle and my glass over in front of her. And she just pours me another glass and slides it back towards me. And I was like, this was my stretch of like, I'm not going to pour myself the second one, but I'm going to slide both over to her and she's going to read my mind and she's going to pour me a glass and slide it back towards me. And that's exactly
a stretch.
Totally a stretch.
I don't approve.
This is my going to confession to you. Please forgive me.
It's God who forgives. So what I would like to challenge all of our listeners, and again, myself.
Your co-host.
And my co-host. When we have our spiritual direction before the Great Fast, and I'm telling you, Father Michael, the things that I want to do, I need you to remember this. I think I'll remember it. Okay. I want to challenge you all before thinking of these big grand things that you want to do for the fast that are additional. I mean, everyone should do what the church requires unless you're unable to do it and need a dispensation for some reason, in which case get the dispensation from your pastor, your spiritual father, or whatever the appropriate thing is. But before going beyond those things and beyond like putting additional commitments on your vocation, I would really encourage you to look at what are the commitments that you've already made within your vocation and spend the Great Fast recommitting to those. And not even necessarily all of them, because there are plenty of things I'm sure I'm not living from our Typicon. I'm sure, not intentionally, right? I'm not being intentionally disobedient or something, but it's just like we get slack with things or we forget that we're supposed to be focusing on this thing in our life or whatever. But what are the ways in which you could actually live better what you are supposed to be living right now, basically? And so this is the reason when you were talking in the banter about our God being a God of order, I was thinking, even in the simple way of like, I let my room get destroyed. Like my room is always so messy because I just go in and I just dump things because I pretty much just go into my cell to sleep and then I pray there in the morning. Except I am in there for most of my Pustinia day every week. And so then it's like anyone who would look at my room would probably think, wow, she just doesn't care that her room's a mess. And that's just absolutely not true. I feel so much anxiety in my messy room. I just also don't make it not messy. And it's so, I think it would be different if it didn't bring me anxiety, but, or my office desk or whatever, it's like, it sounds like a worldly thing of like, well, just be neater and be more tidy and all of that. But it's like, well, actually, there is something holy about living an ordered life. Like striving to be on time to your appointments because this is the time that you gave someone, right? And so, which again, that's one of the things I'm trying to recommit to because I've been terrible about that. Being on time to things, living a more ordered life.
Before this episode.
Huh?
We shouldn't show the text thread right before this episode.
I know. Well, podcasting is one of the places I've gotten the worst at it because I know that you're always going to be flexible. And so you enable me.
You're very nice. I'm always going to be a little bit late. So
yeah, I think that's,
I'm trying though, because I booked, as you know,
I do.
I booked my January schedule for hour and a half appointments so that I have a little bit of time between them to
appointments, but hour and a half time slots.
Exactly. Yeah. So I have a half hour between every appointment, which I'm so looking forward to kind of take notes from the previous one, prepare for the next one, which is going to be amazing, rather than just literally going like 2 minutes in between things.
Yeah. No, I'm excited about that for you.
Thank you.
So anyways, because I was thinking, can you imagine if every Christian, I don't even just say Catholic because I know there are lots of non-Catholic Christians who participate in Lent. If every Christian were to spend this great fast simply trying to live greater charity in their family or in their job or in their, can you imagine what a difference that would make if every Christian was doing this? That would be incredible, right? And so it's good to want to work in the soup kitchen during the fast. But are you having meals as a family? Because if not, maybe that's where you should start. It's good to want to, and this can be tied in with prayer, fasting, and almsgiving can all be tied in here, right? If you want to, maybe part of it is you've been neglecting your wife. And so during the Great Fast, you're going to do some intentional gifting towards her, to her. Well, maybe you fast from your Starbucks twice a week so that once a week you can get her a bouquet of flowers. And so you're fasting from the Starbucks, you're tithing by giving this to your, also again, tithing to your parish and doing those things. I'm not saying don't do those, but I don't know. Do you see what I'm saying with just getting creative with our,
I'm a huge fan of getting creative, but I do realize that most people, would hear that and would just say, well, that's so wishy-washy. And it's no, this is the opposite of that. You can actually say, love your family better. And you're not leaving it at that. You're saying, I'm going to do these specific things. Mm-hmm. And I'm actually going to confess to my wife or my husband or to the priest if I don't do them. So you can actually do that, make your bed, organize your house, buy something for your wife. You can actually give yourself measurable goals that are hard to do, and you will be challenged in them. And if you do not do them, it's a very easily measurable sign that you did not do them. Because I love creativity and fasting. I find that to be very, very helpful to the spirit of the fast. But some people can say, every time I eat, I'm going to eat, like with me, I as a guy that lives in LA and eats in restaurants for free, many restaurants, there's some times where I'm there's probably some dairy or oil in this thing, even though it's not the main thing. So I'm just going to get the thing I like less on the menu, right? I'm not going to get the thing I like most. This is just typical thing that I do. That is so helpful because then I know when the feast comes, I can actually get exactly what I want. And that helps the spirit of the fast if the letter of the law of the fast is unavailable to me, for some reason. So yes, you can actually find and even ask your spouse or your kids or your parents, ask them, is there specific things I can do to kind of find the ordinary virtue, the ordinary holiness in this life better? And then you're also held accountable. This is one of the things I was going to say earlier when you talk about accountability and all of this, that is so good. I tell couples all the time, if someone comes to me in confession and says, I had a near occasion of sin with my boyfriend or girlfriend, or I even, sinned, we had a fall in unchastity with my boyfriend or my girlfriend, whatever that may be. It's do you tell them, are they dedicated to the same virtue you are? They usually say, yeah, in Catholic circles. It's if you tell them, if we do this, I'm going to regret it. I'm going to feel worse. So if I begin to go down that road because of a momentary passion, please stop me. Like, I'm asking you to, I need you to say, I know you're going to regret this, so I'm going to be the one to stop this right now, and that's a loving thing to do. And, and that probably means there's someone more marriable than previously thought, because they're actually listening to you in the overall sense rather than just in the moment. And that's a sign of what marriage will be, right? When it's much more expanded. So yeah, accountability when mentioned to these things, like if I walk into the chapel late, no, I know that you are like, oh, did it again. It's even more so with gossip. It's like, I'm trying to stop gossiping. So if I start gossiping to you, like, do cut me off. Like, literally say, I thought you didn't want to do this, or you're doing it again, or something like that. I want you to do that, even though in the moment I'm going to want you to hear my gossip and gossip back. But please know, in the long term, in a life of faith, a life of virtue, please do cut me off, or at least look uncomfortable, like, because I'm doing something I don't want to be doing. So at least add a little bit of tension to the conversation so that I may realize what's going on and may actually stop.
Yeah. And I think I like what you're saying about the, especially because this is what I intended, but I didn't say it. Having things that are measurable. Yeah. So like some of my spiritual children, at various times for various fasts have, we've talked about, like that they want to focus on their family during whatever the fast is. And so I've suggested, and they've taken up, like, why don't you spend, you have this many kids, like, why don't you make sure each week of the fast you spend one-on-one time with each of your children, and like take them out for, a movie, or take them out for like a coffee date or whatever it is, depending on the age, that might be a different thing, and or take them into the park or whatever. And that's borne such beautiful fruit for a lot of my spiritual children, and because it's like, it can just feel a lot better to go do something for strangers and have even if it's something you're not thanked for, there can still be this like feel good charity to it, as opposed to doing the thing that you're kind of supposed to be doing in your life, which is loving your family. And so I always try to focus on this in some way in community life during the fast, because that can get very backwards, like it can be a lot more rewarding in a human sense to be giving spiritual direction or be giving a talk and hear all of this like affirmation and feedback about how helpful I'm being or whatever, as opposed to just like cooking dinner for my sisters, like, which is not even fair to say, because our community, as you know, is very like, we're constantly thanking each other and affirming each other and stuff like that. So that's not even fair to say. But there's just something, it's less shiny, right? It's less flashy. Maybe that's the word I'm looking for. It's less flashy. And which is what fasting is supposed to be. It's less flashy, like anoint your face and don't let people know that you're fasting. And this is kind of so anyways, those are my thoughts about preparing for the fast. Because it's like, what is the point? And if you can answer this honestly for yourself, the kind of fasting that you choose, if you can ask yourself, like, what's the point of that? Like, if that's the end and not a means, then something's wrong with it, right? Like, if it's just, well, I'm doing this super hardcore thing so that I can feel good about having done a super hardcore thing, then that's, we've talked many times on the podcast about when I was preparing for my ultra marathon, and all along, like, I wasn't actually sure that the Lord was calling me to run an ultra. I was very confident he was calling me to train for an ultra with him. And there was so much beauty in that, and spiritual growth and a lot of moments of intimacy with him. And then also I ended up running the ultra. And afterwards, there was this beautiful gift of seeing with the Lord what I was capable of that I didn't know I was capable of. And so there is something there to it, but like that's not the point of it, you know?
I mentioned a while ago that my world was kind of rocked when I read Alexander Schmemann on the Great Fast, that, you know, basically we are vegan. And I also have a new parishioner who was born and raised like pagan, like explicitly pagan. And part of the way that she would engage with this pagan lifestyle was there were periods of time that we would call like a fasting period where she would not take any life at all, like not even like a plant. You wouldn't even pull a plant out of the ground. All you would eat was something that had seeds, so like fruit and things like that. And then basically, so you're not taking any life. If you eat an apple, right, you basically biologically you're kind of spreading the seeds around, right? So the fruit is an attractive thing that the plant wants you to take, so that you can actually propagate the plant. And so around this time, I was reading Schmemann, and then also she came to the church. Now she's Catholic, obviously, but this is how she was raised. And so I thought there's something that I've kind of moved my mind from the spirit of the fast being it's just hard. Like, do the hard thing and do the thing that's going to train you, so that you say no to even worse sins. If you can say no to a burger on Friday, you can, in 3 years, you can say, you know, no to gossiping, you know, whatever it may be. Like, you're going to get better saying no to the things you want to do by saying no to the easy things that you want to do. But then I thought, I love this idea of eating like Adam and Eve did, right? I love this idea of eating, like actually observing the ancient Eastern fast. You know, no meat, no dairy, no wine, no oil, and because all of those things involve the use of a life or something that Adam and Eve did not eat in the garden. So basically, if you can, then you just eat like Adam and Eve did during the Great Fast. But one of the beautiful things about this is that I didn't think about until recently was that if you just do that, like, you're missing the whole point that Adam and Eve were just totally taken care of by God. So they didn't have to labor, they didn't have to work. God gave them everything before they sinned and brought death and sin into the world. So you have this idea, but unless you see the food you do eat during the fast as a gift from God, rather than just this is horrible, I have to eat this hummus because I can't have a burger. Like, if it's just like negative, then you're missing the whole point of saying that when I do eat fasting foods, I do need to see them as both, I'd rather be eating something else, but also as, even more so, these are a gift from God. I'm just receiving something from Him, and I'm allowing my heart and my body and my mind to adapt to the heart and the body and the mind of Christ that's happening during this fasting season. But I need to be, in a sense, even more thankful during the Great Fast for the food I do eat, because I'm trying to live like Eden, rather than afterwards when I'm, taking a life or, something like that, to eat other things. So there should be actually a greater gratitude if we're eating vegan, because if we're doing it because we're fasting, because we're going back to Eden, that there is a greater gratitude, because the whole reason we're doing it is because we just want to receive from God rather than grasping, which is what Adam and Eve ended up doing when they sinned. So,
yeah. Yeah, no, I really like that, because that's, like what you're saying, is the point of our prayer, our fasting, our almsgiving. All of this needs to conclude with, like, the point is relationship with God. Yeah. And so if there's anything else there, then it's either we haven't gone deep enough in that thing, or we've gone askew somewhere. Because, like, it's beautiful to ponder being back in Eden, but that needs to be taken a step deeper, like you're saying, of like, well, why be in Eden though?
Yeah. Because
that's where they walked with God. Yeah. Not because it's just a beautiful garden, but because God was there. Like, God is there with them. And so always bringing it back to that, not just like, well, this is physically healthier, or I feel better this way, or it's the hard thing and doing hard things helps me to grow. Like, even that, it's like, okay, it helps me to say no in the harder things. But why is it important to say no in the harder things? Because of relationship with God. Like, it all needs to come back to that. The only other thing that I was wanting to mention, I've shared either this hymn or one similar many times on the podcast, I'm sure, because it's one of my favorite ones that comes up in the midst of the nativity season. And it comes up, like there's a variety of, like it comes up lots of ways with like words switched around and stuff like that. But this is one version of it. Every creature that has its being from you gives thanks to you. The angels offer hymns of praise. The heavens give a star. The magi present their gifts, and the shepherds their wonder. The earth provides a cave, and the desert a manger. As for us, we offer a virgin mother. This is, again, one of my favorite hymns of the Christmas season, because I love this concept of like, okay, the heavens give a star, the angels give praise, the earth gives a cave, the desert gives a manger, because it's like, basically each of these, it's saying everything is giving what is proper and what is due to its being, right? It makes sense that like what the heavens would have to give is a star. What the angels would have to give is their praise. What the earth has to give is this cave. And so I was thinking of that in this preparing for the fast of like, what has the Lord fashioned us to give? And again, we can find that, it's a bloom where you're planted sort of deal. We can find that in the life that he's given us without having to look elsewhere. And again, I want to be, I'm not saying that we shouldn't be helping those outside of us or outside of our family or anything like that. I'm just saying that sometimes, oftentimes even, looking outside of what's right in front of us can make us miss what's right in front of us. Like, I think it would be fine for me to be doing additional fasts if I was already keeping silence like I'm supposed to, if I'm already getting to prayer on time, if I'm already doing it right. But it's like, well, no, you're spending your time and energy, or you're wanting to spend your time and energy doing these other fun, flashy fasts that you want to do because they're hardcore or whatever. And that's taking your attention away from these things that you've said you're going to do that you're not doing. Yeah.
I feel attacked.
I'm literally talking about myself. I'm using all examples of the things that I am doing.
You know they're not. I'm just kidding.
I'm genuinely only thinking about myself here.
But
I do think it's a good topic because I think we all do it.
And it's something I need to hear. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, and it's just we all do this. Like, it's why we're just. Most of us are just a lot more charitable with strangers than we are with our own family, or more patient with other people's kids than we are with our own kids, or et cetera, et cetera. It's like, and there's reasons for all that, and I get it, and that's my life too. But I just think it's a good place to focus on for the fast, and just moderation isn't sexy, but maybe this fast, Jesus is calling you to just be moderate. Like maybe he's calling you, actually, we've talked about this before too, but like maybe he's calling you to get the amount of sleep that you should actually get. Like maybe you're supposed to
stop
sacrifice.
Mother, my gosh, I'm a lump of humility right now. Humiliation.
Like maybe he's saying, Mother Natalia, don't read. You don't have to read for 20 minutes before you go to bed. You can put that novel down after 10 minutes so that you can get 10 more minutes of sleep and be more charitable to your sisters tomorrow because you're more well rested.
I wish most of my spiritual children and me, the issue was reading before going to bed. I would give a lot to have that be my vice. Oh, I was reading before going to bed. I should change up my life.
I have the gift of being in a monastery where we have a rule of life that there's not much else you can do after silence. We're not allowed on technology after Compline, and all of that. So it's like, well, and we're in silence. So it's like, and so
it's a very usual thing for me to look ahead and say, like, when am I actually going to sleep? Like, just try to think, when's that going to happen? And last night I was thinking that, and I was like, well, I know I have basically this at 12, I have this at 2, I have this at 3, and then I have this at 7, But my 7 o'clock was an optional, and it was with your friend of mine, Noel Maring, and Adam Maring.
I love Noel.
Yes, she talked about your love for her last night. She had some friends over, and anyway, so we were chatting around and I just thought, there's no way that's going to be an early evening. Like, they live in Ventura. That's an hour away from me. There's just no way. Like, I'm going to get there at 7. I ended up being about half an hour late because Charles Cologne wanted to smoke a cigar. Which
You're going to be there until at least 10:30.
Yeah, later than that. I mean, very frequently. So thank God one of the other guests that was there decided to be like, hey, what is everybody looking forward to? Let's finish the night with this. And it was like, okay, that's a good thing. Because then we went around the circle, shared what we were looking forward to, and then we all just got up and left. And I was like, thank you. But anyway, so tonight, Mother, as my daughter, I am going to get sleep because it's Monday night and Tuesday's my day off, and it's going to get crazy on Wednesday because Wednesday's Christmas Eve.
Mm-hmm. And then you can sleep on the plane on your way home to surprise your family.
Yes.
That's
so pray for that. That's
Still
not my
nobody
prayer
knows?
intention. That's too selfish. No, it was Cullen. I told Cullen, my brother-in-law. Because I just want to make sure that, like, nobody, if I arrive at 7, I don't want anybody like leaving at 6:50,
Yeah.
we're going to go get the kids in bed, like, no, just somehow delay them,
Mm-hmm.
So that's, he'll be good at that.
Awesome. Well, I don't have anything else. Do you have anything else that you wanted to say before we wrap up?
No. I'm also hopefully going to surprise our Maddie at her family Christmas party when she's home. And so
that's so fun. Like,
yes.
her mom reached out or something?
Her mom reached out to me and was like, hey, please surprise her if you can come by. So it's Saturday evening, so I have the outreach in Santa Paula, but then I'm going to try to get out of there ASAP, run over and just surprise her there. So this is actually something really beautiful. This is, I've been thinking.
Because she's getting there on Saturday.
Yes, she's getting there on Saturday. So I'm just, that night.
Father Michael, that's so beautiful.
Yeah. I was thanking God because I have a lot of spiritual children that there's no one in their life that they could surprise. Like, there's nobody that would be like, oh, so glad you're here. Like, that's horrible. It's horrible. A lot of my Instagram feed is like people surprising loved ones, like military or whatever. And I literally have more spiritual children that I can count on one hand that literally have nobody. Nobody. Like, there's nowhere they could go where people are like, oh my gosh, it's good to see. Like, and I'm like, thank God. Like, I thank God that I can surprise my family. They'll be great. They'll be so happy. I can surprise Maddie. So yeah. So I'm thanking God for that reality, because that's not everybody has that beautiful ability to do that.
Oh, she's gonna be so touched that her mom thought of that too.
Yes,
That's really fun.
It's really beautiful.
Good. All right. So you're good. Can I wrap up? Do you have anything else you want to say?
Por favor.
Everyone be moderate this fast. But moderate in a way that's going to push you, not moderate in a way that you're being lazy. Okay. What?
I feel attacked again. Just kidding.
None of this was about you.
I know.
Father Michael's
that was the worst attack right there.
Father Michael's going to work on his vanity during this fast. All right. You can find us on any of the social, not any of the social media platforms, any platforms like where you listen to podcasts, whatever those are called. And you can find us on Facebook, Instagram. Father Michael's on Twitter at Padre Michael O. We are on Goodreads. You can email us, whatgodisnotpodcast@gmail.com. I am almost caught up on the emails. And I mean, I think by the time this comes out,
doing the things that we've promised to do, good job.
No, seriously though,
awesome.
I hunkered down yesterday morning and just answered a bunch. And so, anyways, I'm really excited about that. I think by the time this comes out, I'll be caught up. Okay. But most of them I don't answer. So I just want to be clear with people about that. So don't be offended when you email and Mother Natalia is not the one who answers, because mostly it's not me. But I try to answer a few here and there. You can support us on Patreon. Or at our nonprofit's website, fotina.org, PHOTina.org. And if you do support us on Patreon, one of the benefits is you get a shout out, a thank you at the end of an episode. So I'll give a couple of those, except I didn't pull it up ahead of time, but I'm pulling it up right now if you're just patient. Okay, we have someone named Abby May from California.
Aw.
And sorry, we usually only do last initials, not last names.
No, Abby will be
Oh,
proud.
but that's not. Anyways, okay, great. And
Yeah.
Miguel J from New Jersey. I'll explain to you afterwards why I'm confused, Father Michael. I don't want to explain it on the podcast only because I don't want to reveal more than someone once revealed. Okay. Not because okay. And I'm just forgetting everything. I feel like there's usually so much more that we say right now. If this episode was helpful to you, if you feel like it could help someone else prepare for the Great Fast for Lent, then please feel free to share it with them. That could be good. If you are a married woman and you feel like your husband needs to give you more bouquets of flower, please share it with him. And that would be a beautifully passive-aggressive hint. I can't think of anything else. Okay, prayer intentions. I did not think this through, but I would like to ask for prayers for all of the women discerning with us. We have a discerner here right now as we're recording. She's here for almost a week. And we have several discerners at varying levels of seriousness. And so please just pray for our discerners, especially because they have to deal with me as the vocation director, and God is good and he's purifying them. So, Father Michael, prayer intention.
I ask you to pray for the soul of Joanne. This is Hope Schneer, who does along with her husband, does our theme music. Her mother passed away suddenly and tragically the other day. So if it's pray for the soul of Joanne.
Okay.
Thank you all.
Will do. All right, Father, can you please give us a blessing?
The Lord bless you and keep you, cause his face to shine upon you, have mercy on you. May our Lord allow you to look with clarity at your life, even in the midst of any mist or confusion the devil may want to put in your way. But may you hunker down, and may you perceive the various vocations that God has given you, and may you desire to find that foundation again, the foundation of that call, that vocation, those responsibilities in your life. May you be grateful for them, thankful for them. May you find your Sabbath rest in them, the peace in them. May you rededicate yourself in any way that maybe you have been led astray or led yourself astray from those responsibilities. May you have the humility to ask those who you live with, who serve you, in ways that you can find health and dedication, zeal, courage in your various responsibilities within your vocations. And may you have the perseverance, the zeal, the strength, the courage to carry these out, even if they are hard. May the Lord bless you in the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen.
Amen. Love you.
Love you too, Mother. Thank you.